August 30, 2025. I did like write a third canto Bhagavatam verse on the board, but I'm thinking since I knew you asked a question about Srimati Radharani this morning, and so maybe we can, like kind of in preparation for tomorrow, you can perhaps read something about Srimati Radharani. Let me see what I got here. Okay. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna there, Krishna's cottage. Welcome. Kind of like in preparation for Sri Radhastami tomorrow. We just read the 25 transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. Now I'm reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 14, entitled Performance of the Vrindavan Pastimes. Very wonderful pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So just a few. So this is text 169 of chapter 14 of Madhya Lila. Let's see where we go with it. Eta Bhava Bhushaya Bhushita Sri Radhara Anga Dekite Utale Krishna Sukhabdi Taranga. When Srimati Radharani's body manifests the ornaments of many ecstatic symptoms, the ocean of Krishna's happiness immediately displays transcendental waves. Kila kinchit tadi bhavera shuna vivaran ye bhava bhushaya radha hare Krishna man. Now hear a description of different ecstasies, beginning with Kila kinchita. With these ecstatic ornaments, Srimati Radharani enchants the mind of Krishna. When Sri Krishna sees Srimati Radharani and wants to touch her body, he prohibits her from going to the spot where one can cross the river Yamuna. Approaching her, Krishna prohibits Srimati Radharani from picking flowers. He may also touch her in front of her friends. At such times, the ecstatic symptoms of Kila Kinchita are awakened. First, there is jubilation and ecstatic love, which is the root cause of these symptoms. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. This is the purport to text 173, Madhya Lila, chapter 14. Whenever Srimati Radharani leaves her house, she is always well-dressed and attractive. It is her womanly nature to attract Sri Krishna's attention, and upon seeing her so attractively dressed, Sri Krishna desires to touch her body. The Lord then finds some fault in her and prohibits her from going to a river crossing and stops her from picking flowers. Such are the pastimes between Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna. Being a cowherd girl, Srimati Radharani regularly carries a container of milk and often goes to sell it on the other side of the Yamuna. To cross the river, she has to pay the boatman, and the spot where the boatman collects his fares is called the Dhanagati. Lord Sri Krishna stops her from going, telling her, first you have to pay the fee, then you will be allowed to go. This pastime is called Dhanakeli Lila. Similarly, if Srimati Radharani wants to pick a flower, Sri Krishna claims to be the garden's proprietor and prohibits her. This pastime is called Kila Kinchita. Radharani's shyness arises due to Sri Krishna's prohibitions, and ecstatic loving bodily symptoms called Kila Kinchita Bhava are manifest at that time. These ecstatic symptoms are explained in the following verse, which is from Srila Rupa Goswami's Ujjvala Nilamani, Anubhava Prakaran number 44. So next verse, text 174. Garva Bila Sarudita Smita Suya Baya Krutam Sankari Karanam Harshad Uchyate Kila Kinchitam. Pride, ambition, weeping, smiling, envy, fear, and anger are the 7 ecstatic loving symptoms manifest by a jubilant shrinking away, and these symptoms are called Kila Kinchinta Bhava. Text 175. There are 7 other transcendental ecstatic symptoms, and when they combine on the platform of jubilation, the combination is called Mahabhava. Text 176. The 7 combined ingredients of Mahabhava are pride, ambition, fear, dry artificial crying, anger, envy, and mild smiling. There are 8 symptoms of ecstatic love on the platform of transcendental jubilation. And when they are combined and tasted by Krishna, the Lord's mind is completely satisfied. Indeed, they are compared to a combination of yogurt, candy, ghee, honey, black pepper, camphor, and cardamom, which, when mixed together, are very tasty and sweet. Text 179. Evava yuktadeki radhasya nayan sangamaha ite sukapaya kotigun. Lord Sri Krishna is thousands upon thousands of times more satisfied when he sees Srimati Radharani's face light up from this combination of ecstatic love than he is by direct union with her. Purport. This is further explained in the following verse from the Ujjvala Nilamani, Anubhava Prakaran 46 of Srila Rupa Goswami. So this is text 180. Antasme ratayojvala chalakana tyakirna pakshman kura kinchit patalita chala rasikato sita pura kunchati udaya patimadhavena madura Yabukna tarotara Radhaya kilakinchita stavakini Twishti Shriyamba Kriya. Translation. May the sight of Srimati Radharani's kilakinchita ecstasy, which is like a bouquet, bring good fortune to all. When Sri Krishna blocked Radharani's way to the Dana Gati, there was laughter within her heart. Her eyes grew bright, and fresh tears flowed from her eyes, reddening them. Due to her sweet relationship with Krishna, her eyes were enthusiastic, and when her crying subsided, she appeared even more beautiful. Text 181. This is from the Govinda Lilamrita 9.18. Okay. Bashpavya kulitarunan chalachalan nechamasola sitam Helola sachaladaram kutilita bhuyugmam ujatsmitam Radhaya kilakinchintam chintamaso dikshanan na sangamaranandam tamavapakoti kunitam yobunakirgochara. Agitated by tears, Srimati Radharani's eyes were tinged with red, just like the eastern horizon at sunrise. Her lips began to move with jubilation and lusty desire. Her eyebrows curved and her lotus-like face smiled mildly. Seeing Srimati Radharani's face exhibit such emotion, Lord Sri Krishna felt 1,000,000 times happier than when he embraced her. Indeed, Lord Sri Krishna's happiness is not at all mundane. Hare Krishna. Let's just go taste. There's oceans and oceans of nectar like that in Prabhupada's books and lectures about the Madhurya Ras. So, something I thought to read next in this mood of preparing for Sri Radhastami. One thing, like I don't know if we're going to share tomorrow, but there's the chapter 46 of Krishna book. That's Uddha delivers Krishna's message to the gopis, and that there you have Radharani speaking to the bumblebee. So to enter into the mood of Srimati Radharani, to immerse oneself into Radharani speaking to the bumblebee. Maybe we'll read that today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. Maybe you've heard me like in the Software Foundational Seminar. We talk about when we sometimes when we talk about like the agreements and I talk about this book. I say, oh my, I ask, oh, has anyone one of my favorite books, Sri Upadeshamrita, The Nectar of Instruction. Anyone read it recently? And sometimes some raise their hands. Sometimes like I don't know what this guy's talking about. But so I mentioned that this book, Nectar of Instruction, it's a short book. It's actually 11 texts. It's 11 verses. So it's short. It's not like it's 11 texts. It's 11 verses. It's not like 18,000 verses like the Bhagavatam. It's 11. And it culminates in a description of the most sublime ecstasies of the soul in loving devotional connection with Krishna, with Supreme Soul. And where the book starts, and I bring this out in the foundational seminar in relation to agreements. Where the book starts is with the verse, Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara Pasta Vegam, Etan Vegam, Yogisheta Dhira, Saram Abhimam Pratibhim Sasishat. Which, and the first word is Vacho Vegam. We can see the source of the English word vocal. So it starts with, what am I doing with my word? And what's my relationship with my word? And then Manasa, what's my Manasa Vegam? Vega means urge, the urge to speak, the urge to give word. Manasa, the urge of the mind, Kroda Vegam, urge of anger, Kroda, and then Jiva Vegam, Udara Pasta Vegam, tongue, belly, and genitals in a biological line. Okay, so what Rupa Goswami is saying, like, okay, so like if we want to go to these truly esoteric states of experience and being and like that, it starts in that very grounded place of what's my relationship with my agreements, my commitments. Okay, and in a short time, so that's where I focus usually. It's these very grounded instructions, and then actually just was last Saturday, Rosa and I, after the advanced course post-training event, we were sitting with Vishaka, and she referenced Nectar of Instruction. Okay, so I'll go to some place I don't usually go, but so then what are those esoteric places that Rupa Goswami goes to in the book? Um, okay, so I'm going to go there now because it relates intimately to Srimati Radharani. So, okay. So I'm gonna go with yes, those few places we go in. All right, well, let's go right to the very closure. Okay, this is text 11. Text 11, final verse of the Nectar of Instruction, Sri Upadeshamrita. Okay, here we go. Krishnasyo chaipanaya vasati preya sibhyo pirada kundam chasya munibhir abhitastadrig eva vyadyahi yat preshter apyalam asulabam kimpu nar bhakti bhajam tat premadam sakrit api sarasnatur avishkaro oti. Translation. Of the many objects, so it starts with what's our relationship with our promises, and here's the culmination verse. Of the many objects of favor, delight, and of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi. Rajabhumi is another name for Vrindavan. Bhumi is like earth, Bhumi, Mother Bhumi, and Vraja is a name for Vrindavan. Of the many objects of favored delight, and of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love, and in every respect her divine Kund is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kund is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within these holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. This is talking about Srimati Radharani's, her bathing pond, Okay. And I'll read text 10. This is the text before it. Yeah.
What does Kund mean?
Kund means a pond,
Oh.
a lake or a small lake or a pond.
Oh.
Kund, yeah. So if we go in Vrindavan, there's Shyama Kund, Krishna's bathing pond, and Radha Kund. Okay. Text 10. Okay. Karmi vyaparito hare priyataya vyaktim yayurgyaninas tebhyo jnana vimukta bhakti parama premaika nishtas tata tebhyasta pashupala pankajadrishas tabhyo pisaradika Prishta tadvariyam tadiya sarasi tam nashrayat kriti. Translation. In the Shastra it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kund lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radha Kund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrita bhav, render loving service to the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashta Kaliya Lila, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radha Kund are the most fortunate people in the universe. We're just, tasting a few drops of pastimes and qualities of Srimati Radharani. Text 11 purport, I'm jumping around a bit. Here's Srila Prabhupada's purport to text 11. Why is Radha Kund so exalted? The lake is so exalted because it belongs to Srimati Radharani, who is the most beloved object of Sri Krishna. Among all the gopis, she is the most beloved. Similarly, her lake, Sri Radhakund, is also described by great sages as the lake that is as dear to Krishna as Radha herself. Indeed, Krishna's love for Radhakund and Srimati Radharani is the same in all respects. Radhakund is very rarely attained even by great personalities, fully engaged in devotional service, not to speak of ordinary devotees who are only engaged in the practice of Vaidhi Bhakti. It is stated that a devotee will at once develop pure love of Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes a bath in Radhakund. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radhakund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is a most important item in the execution of devotional service. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in this connection that Sri Radhakund is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, sakis, and confidential serving maids, manjaris of Srimati Radharani. Living entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Goloka Vrindavan, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, Siddhadeha, should live at Radhakund, take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha, and under their direction engage constantly in her service. This is the most exalted method for those engaged in devotional service under the protection of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur writes that even great sages and great devotees like Narada and Sanaka do not get an opportunity to come to Radhakund to take their baths. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? If by great fortune one gets an opportunity to come to Radhakund and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna, exactly as the gopis did. It is also recommended that one should live on the banks of Radhakund and should be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Sri Radha and her assistant gopis. If one is thus constantly engaged during his lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Sri Radha in the same way as he contemplated during his life on the banks of Radhakund. The conclusion is that to live on the banks of the Radhakund and to bathe there daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. It is a difficult position to attain, even for great sages and devotees like Narada. Thus, there is no limit to the glory of Sri Radhakund. By serving Radhakund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. Mm. Mm. Vande Upasanatana Yoga Sri Jiva Upaka. Okay, I'll pause there. If anyone wants to share, comment, or ask anything.
I enjoyed hearing,
Yeah.
but I also don't understand. It sounds like it's saying, try for this, but it's kind of unattainable.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Mm. So, Srila Prabhupada, and so look, in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Srimati Radharani appears 8 times. Hare, that's Srimati Radharani. And like in his purport on the happening album to the Maha Mantra, Srila Prabhupada, he'll talk about Krishna, he talks about Rama, and then they'll say about then the Lord's internal pleasure potency. And he doesn't say Srimati Radharani's name directly. So is he neglecting Srimati Radharani? We'll often see they'll talk about Hare as like Mother Hara, the supreme pleasure-giving potency, but Prabhupada's reticent, he's careful. He's not neglecting Srimati Radharani, just the opposite. So she is so precious and cherishable that like a pure devotee of Krishna, a pure devotee of Srimati Radharani. Yeah, and Prabhupada would say when he was young, his mother wanted him to go to law school, and his father just wanted him to learn to play the mridanga and become a devotee of Srimati Radharani. So Prabhupada appreciated both. Of course, so he did become very expert in so many dealings with material energy like that. But he would say his father just wanted him to learn to play mridanga and sing and become a devotee of Sri. His father, sadhus would visit Prabhupada's house when he was growing up, Abhay Charan. And Gaur Mohan Day, that's Prabhupada's father, would always ask the sadhus, "Oh, please bless my son, that'll become a great devotee of Srimati Radharani." So there's not that like the supreme mother of the whole creation, spiritual material, needs protection, but a devotee has a protective view because yeah, so it's like this is not amenable to our understanding who is Srimati Radharani and her pastimes. It's not amenable to our any material mind or intellect or any material process. So we get, glimpses of understanding to the extent that we follow in the spirit of Srimati Radharani. And because there's lots of, let's call it pseudo Vaishnavas, where they're like imitating the pastimes of Radha Krishna, and they're taking these pastimes about Radha Kund very cheaply, and then that becomes a disturbance in the name of bhakti. And really, there was some actually in the time of bhakti, to 1700s, 1800s. Vaishnav, what went in the name of Gaudiya Vaishnavism had a very, it was seen as like some sort of like dangerous sex cult, this and that, because there was a lot of gross perverted misrepresentations of what Lord Chaitanya brought us. Mm. And so Prabhupada's very cautious and using a lot of discretion, not just throwing the name of Srimati Radharani around here and there. Same time here, it's a weekend for Srimati Radharani, so we're diving into some of the pastimes we can really expect we're not going to understand. And by being exposed to all such sweetness, such purification, such purification. And so the mood, the Gopi Bhav, the mood of the gopis personified by Srimati Radharani. So that's, uh, yeah, so that mood is, okay, we have most practical personal access to that mood through Srila Prabhupada, because we can think of, okay, like the Madhurya Leela, the conjugal pastimes of the gopis and Srimati Radharani and Krishna, and that's there. Prabhupada gives that. Um, we're reading a few excerpts here, Nectar of Instruction, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vrindavan Pastimes, Krishna book, chapters 29 to 32 and 35 and 46, Srimati Radharani's discussions with the bumblebee, transcendental madness. See, everything, because here we talked about transcendental qualities, and we read about like envy and jealousy and anger. So everything in the material sphere has its spiritual counterwhole, has its spiritual source, okay, including things that are very disturbing to self-realization and disturbing to a peaceful sattvic life in the material realm. Find these are very exalted emotions in the spiritual realm. So Gopi Bhava, the mood of Srimati Radharani, that's Srila Prabhupada at the age of 70 getting on the Jaladuta and crossing the Atlantic, having 2 heart attacks, Srila Prabhupada rising at 1 a.m. to give us his Bhaktivedanta purports. So that's the mood. So we enter into understanding through because when I say that, because Srimati Radharani's desire is that everyone comes and joins the Vrindavan pastimes. That's her desire. And so that's exemplified by by uh, by Srila Prabhupada, right? So he was there at Radha Kund, he was there at Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan, um, completely transcendentally blissful life in Vrindavan, a town where you greet people every Jai Radhe, like that. And he left. he left to he left as an embodiment of the spirit of Srimati Radharani. That he left to, because to come, you see, say New York City, 13 million people, non-devotees, and Srila Prabhupada's not seen that way. He's seen with the vision of Srimati Radharani. He's seen with the vision that, oh, these are all devotees of Krishna. These are all Yugala Kishore. These are all servants of the transcendental divine couple, Sri Sri Radha Krishna. And so that's the Gopi Bhava for us. That's the Gopi Bhava. So we serve Srila Prabhupada, serve his mission, cultivate our Krishna consciousness, and not imitating. Srila Prabhupada would encourage Anusharana, to follow the example, not Anukarana, to blindly imitate. That becomes Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidim Veda Aikantiki Harer Bhakti Utpataya Vikalpate. That if it's so-called bhakti, not according to Shruti Smriti Pancharatra Puranas, then it becomes a disturbance in society. And so much of what was and is going on in the name of Gaudiya Vaishnavism is this cheap imitation of the Gopi spirit, the spirit of Srimati Radharani. So Gopi Bhava, the Gopi spirit, that's Srila Prabhupada. Just as we have just the past few minutes, many visitors online here, and Tamils, Hare Krishna, and so then the more we serve Srila Prabhupada, through endeavoring to inspire others to come to the service of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, then the more we understand these transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani and these very spiritually, transcendentally esoteric pastimes. And then, and then as we're in the process, which is an eternal process, we can simply appreciate and experience the sweet purifying effect of hearing about Srimati Radharani. I'll mention towards the beginning of today's discussion, I have a bookmark from a Devi Seva Summit 1998. Srimati Radharani's there. So it's going to be like a 30-year. It was happened in Alachua, Florida. So I'll read again because some just joined. It's kind of like a natural preparation for tomorrow's Sri Radhastami. The 25 transcendental qualities of Sri Radha. 1, she is sweetness personified. 2, she is a fresh young girl. 3, her eyes are always moving. 4, she is always brightly smiling. 5, she possesses all auspicious marks on her body. 6, she can agitate Krishna by the flavor of her person. 7, she is expert in the art of singing. 8, she can speak very nicely and sweetly. 9, she is expert in presenting feminine attractions. 10, she is modest and gentle. 11, she is always very merciful. 12, she is transcendentally cunning. 13, she knows how to dress nicely. 14, she is always shy. 15, she is always respectful. 16, she is always patient. 17, she is very grave. 18, she is enjoyed by Krishna. 19, she is always situated on the highest devotional platform. 20, she is the abode of love of the residents of Gokul. 21, she can give shelter to all kinds of devotees. 22, she is always affectionate to superiors and inferiors. 23, she is always obliged by the dealings of her associates. 24, she is the greatest amongst Krishna's girlfriends. 25, she always keeps Krishna under her control. Hare Krishna. I'll read one more text. We've read texts 10 and 11 from Sri Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction, and we read Srila Prabhupada's purport to text 11. This is a picture of Srila Prabhupada at the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. It's established by Srila Jiva Goswami and there by the Samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami. So I'll read text 8 of Sri Upadeshamrita. Annamarupa charitadi sukirtananu smityo kramena rasanam manasi niyoja tishtan vrajeta ragi jananugami kalam nayera kilam it upadesha saram. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day. So this is the essence of all advice. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja, Goloka, Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. In text 9, Vaikuntha Janito Varamadupuri Tadrapi Rasotsavahan Vrindaranyamudarapani Ramana Tadrapi Govardhana Radha Kundami Hapi Gokula Pate Pemam Rita Plavana Kuryad Asya Virajato Girita Te Sevam Viveki Naka. Translation. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Rasalila pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And, above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? So Kund means lake. So Srila Rupa Goswami here, getting to the closing text of Sri Upadeshamrita, saying this is the holy place in all of creation, not just this universe, but all the material and spiritual universes. This is the above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund, that's the bathing pond of Srimati Radharani, stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? I'll read Srila Prabhupada's purport, then I'll be glad to hear any comments, realizations, questions. The spiritual world is 3/4 of the total creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is the most exalted region. The spiritual world is naturally superior to the material world. However, Mathura and the adjoining areas, although appearing in the material world, are considered superior to the spiritual world, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself appeared at Mathura. The interior forests of Vrindavan are considered superior to Mathura because of the presence of the 12 forests, Dvadashavan, such as Talavan, Madhuvan, and Bahulavan, which are famous for the various pastimes of the Lord. Thus, the interior Vrindavan forest is considered superior to Mathura, but superior to these forests is the divine Govardhan Hill, because Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill like an umbrella, raising it with his lotus-like beautiful hand to protect his associates, the denizens of Raja, from the torrential rains sent by the angry Indra, king of the demigods. Gopi Janavalabha Giri Varadari, the glorious lifter of Govardhan Hill. Giri, mountain or hill, and Dari, lifter. Yes. Okay. It is also at Govardhan Hill that Krishna tends the cows with his cowherd friends. And there also he had his rendezvous. With his most beloved Sri Radha and engaged in loving pastimes with her. Radhakund at the foot of Govardhan is superior to all because it is there that love of Krishna overflows. Advanced devotees prefer to reside at Radhakund because this place is the site of many memories of the eternal loving affairs between Krishna and Radharani, Rati Vilas. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, it is stated that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first visited the area of Rajabhumi, he could not at first find the location of Radhakund. This means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually searching for the exact location of Radhakund. Finally, he found the holy spot, and there was a small pond there. He took his bath in that small pond and told his devotees that the actual Radhakund was situated there. Later, the pond was excavated by Lord Chaitanya's devotees, headed first by the six Goswamis such as Rupa and Raghunath Das. Presently, there is a large lake known as Radhakund there. Srila Rupa Goswami has given much stress to Radhakund because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to find it. Who, then, would give up Radhakund and try to reside elsewhere? No person with transcendental intelligence would do so. The importance of Radhakund, however, cannot be realized by other Vaishnava Sampradayas, nor can persons uninterested in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understand the spiritual importance and divine nature of Radhakund. Thus, Radhakund is mainly worshipped by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna. Would anyone like to ask any questions, share any realizations, comments at this time? Bhakti and Rosa.
In the text you're reading before, I think I misunderstood. I thought it said, "Who is the intelligent person who is unwilling?"
Okay.
I don't understand why.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada, following in the line of great Vaishnav acharyas and their literary, the Goswamis and their literary style, they'll ask kind of like rhetorical questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So like one way to say it could be it's just like only a fool wouldn't absorb himself in Radhakund, but say, who? It's like a rhetorical question. Who is the intelligent person who will not absorb themselves in the service of the divine couple at Radhakund? So that's it's a literary device. There's lots of that in Prabhupada writings. Sometimes they're giving negative advice. There's one, there's a verse by Srila Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada quotes it sometimes, but I'm paraphrasing, so I won't get exactly. But basically, it's like if you're interested in in the happiness that comes from society, friendship, and love, like society, friendship, and love, don't go to the banks of the Yamuna, because there you'll see Shyama Sundar, Krishna in his threefold bending form, and playing the flute. And so if you're interested in like your friendship and like ordinary loving relations and society and your place in social life, don't go there because your life will be ruined. Don't do it. We're warning you against it. And so we all have that experience. Like I'll sometimes say, yes, but yeah, I had a good life. I had a great life planned, and then I read Bhagavad Gita cover to cover, and it ruined my life because I'm just Yeah, we're no longer interested in, we just no longer interested in the person. And a sincere devotee, he might want, he interacts, like he interacts with the world to spiritualize it. So different literary devices there. Hare Krishna. Okay, so tomorrow we're hosting Sri Radhastami here in person and online at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you all for your association. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimati Radharani ki jai. Hare Krishna.